Welcome everybody to I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western New York's premier market and tap room with over 300 beers to choose from at 8 different Western New York locations. Open 7 days a week from 11:30 a.m. till 10:30 p.m. and later with live music, entertainment, and trivia at all 8 locations. And of course, one of Western New York's only both kid and dog friendly bars. Buffalo Go Apparel. Can't say enough good things about them. Some of the best options when it comes to your Buffalo sports apparel needs, whether it's your shirts, your hats, your hoodies. Make sure you go check them out at Buffalo Go Co on Instagram and Twitter, buffalogo.com. Again, I can't stress enough, they carry our own merchandise now. Check out the 39 Goated Sabres snapback hat. They have a two-tone RJ hat. It's available in blue and gold and red and black. And, of course, wrong way, GOAT. The GOAT's shirt, hat, and hoodie, paying homage to the Dominator himself. Sabres win big time. Storm back after being down 2-0 early in the second period. Storm back and win 5-2. TAGE Thompson on fire. Stick was literally on fire tonight. 6 shots on goal, 4 goals, including where he moseyed on in there at the end of the game for the empty net for his 26th of the season. I believe he now leads the team in goals. Obviously a far cry behind, or however you want to say it, behind his goal total from last year, but still nice to see him finally starting to heat up in the most important games of this season. The return of the Levi, Devin Levi, with 28 saves on 30 shots. Some huge saves, 2 breakaway saves on Jack Hughes, and I believe it was Jesper Bratt, and then a massive, massive save with about 20 seconds left in the third period. When you're up by 2 anyways, but he gets over from the blocker side of the glove side, sprawls out, robs Jack Hughes, which ended up leading to the TAGE Thompson fourth goal being an empty net. Listen, guys, I don't know what it is about this team. Opening periods, they can't figure it out. One of the strangest teams I've ever seen in my life in terms of like this franchise. They dominate for 40 minutes, but can't figure out the opening 20. And honestly, I'll straight up say it, as well as TAGE played tonight, without Devin Levi making some key saves there, especially to start the second period and end the first, they're not in that game. And everyone knows I'm a Levi guy, but it's the truth. Levi played absolutely fantastic tonight. Has been very good since they recalled him. Was good against Vancouver, even though they lost that game. Was good in the game the other night, coming in relief of UPL. Made some big saves, only give up 1 goal. So, I love Devin's game tonight. He was big in big moments, and nothing really could do about the 2 goals that were scored against. And TAGE just literally, he even said it in his post game, like, you saw that one shot that went off Jake Allen's glove. It hit his glove and literally folded it back and fell into the net, which was amazing. Amazing. Great goal for him. Really showing that power behind his shot again. It's something we haven't generally seen much of the season. We know he had a hurt hand earlier this year. Not sure if he's been dealing with that. He's been dealing with some back issues, but good to see him starting to heat up. Hopefully it's not too little too late. Hopefully he still plays some interesting games here as March ends and April begins. They got tomorrow night against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Assuming UPL will play that game. That's, again, biggest game of the season, right? Every single game is the biggest game of the season until you're mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So they've always played pretty well against the Maple Leafs. I'm not sure of UPL's record against the Leafs. I know Devins is pretty good. So we'll see what happens. I have all the faith in the world in UPL. Everybody who watches this show knows that. But I just hope the Sabres can play 60 minutes of hockey like they did their final 40 tonight against the Leafs tomorrow, and you should get a win. That Leafs team is loaded offensively, especially in their top 6. You got to hopefully find a way to, really control those top 2 lines. I'm not too sure how I feel about Dowling and Owen Power being on a pairing together. I think you can most specifically look at that second goal, the Brack goal, where you had four guys, four literally behind the goal line, including both of your top defensemen. That can't happen. You learn that in house league hockey, that you don't send even two men behind the goal line defending is way too much. If it's a battle for the puck along the boards, that's one thing, but it wasn't. Puck popped out to Jesper Bratt. Somebody said it might have been deflected before it went over Levi, but regardless, I mean, he didn't stand a chance against that. When Byron in was left there uncontested, and when that puck kicked out, you had four guys below the goal line. Like, what is that? It's horrible. You can't have that happen. Can't have that happen. Playoff, that does not happen to playoff teams. That doesn't. And that's obviously you learn that. They're all professional hockey players right now. Not right now, but you are. And those are things that you just shouldn't do, and the coaching shouldn't matter. I think my issue when it comes to the coach is how do you address that when things like that happen? And this isn't the first time stuff like this has happened during the season. When stuff like that happens, how do you address it? Either on the bench immediately after, do you do it in the room? Like, the reaction is the coach's job. How do you react to that? And that's where I think a lot of fans, myself included, are frustrated with this coaching staff, because it's like accountability, right? Where's the accountability? Like, I question whether or not this coach has bag skated this team all season. I know people think bag skates shouldn't be a thing anymore, but they should be. It's a punishment. Like, when I screw up at work, yeah, you might get written up, some type of suspension. There are consequences, and there need to be consequences for play like that. I'm happy we came back and won. I'm happy we came back and scored 5 unanswered goals. But when stuff like that happens throughout the season, it needs to be addressed. And that's the coach's job. That's how you handle stuff like that. It's not obviously the coach isn't out there making those plays. It's how you address it. It's how you address it. You it's like a kid. When you're a child and you do something wrong, as a parent, you have to address it. And outside of like physical abuse, you know, you have to address it in a way that teaches them, okay, I don't ever want to do that again. Never again, because I don't want to deal with the consequences. Same thing here. These are professional, even the professional athletes are still human beings. They should deal with consequences. And that's where I think in my opinion, that's near the top of my list of my frustrations with Don Granato, and why, like, I even over the top maybe a little bit, but I called for him to be fired today. Like, it's just, I just, you can't have that happen. Game season on the line. I don't know. I'm not in the locker room. I don't know how he reacts to those things, but I would love to be a fly on the wall to know, because to me, he doesn't seem the type of guy that's going to yell and scream like a John Tortorella or like a Bruce Boudreau, which is what I would like personally. That's the type of reaction I would like. But that's just me. We got some comments here in the peanut area. Let's hit them up real quick. We got Kevin. Why do the Sabres suck in the first period? It's probably their biggest problem, followed by that terrible power play. Yeah, I don't understand it. And people point to the coach. Is it the coach? Is this the reason why they're not prepared to play a puck drop? I personally don't know. It's frustrating. It really is. Kevin, I don't really have an answer for that. It stinks. Because if you could find, if you could have more, if you could fix that issue earlier in the season, you're probably knocking on the door of a playoff spot this year. It's really only like a 3 or 4 win difference, that makes this team a higher percentage be making the playoffs right now. I'm not sure what the standings look like. Maybe one of you guys in the peanut gallery can look that up for me. But yeah, the first period, lapses, the unawareness, just the Ipso not being ready to start the game at puck drop. That has been the top of the list of issues for this team, without a doubt. I agree. From Gargalat, 100% without the beast, they don't come close to winning. Jedi made enough amazing saves to allow TAGE to win it. Yeah, I agreed. I think both of them too. Star number 1 and star number 2. Obviously, the star number 1 will go to TAGE Thompson. It's hard not to give the guy who scores 4 goals the first star of the game. But no doubt, I mean, Devin Levi gets second star honors for tonight for sure. From Joey, intern Joey, 8 goals, 12 points in TAGE's last 10 games. You love to see it, man. You absolutely love to see it. He's heating up at the right time. Obviously 4-goal game pads those stats a little bit, but yeah, that's the guy you've needed him to heat up even before pre 10 games ago. But I mean, right now is better than never. And we need 10 more, 8 more goals in the next 10 games from Tage Thompson. As he probably most likely will get to 30 or more. So with the remaining games left in the schedule. Actually, no, that was wrong. 8 goals and 14 points last 10 games. Intern Joey, I'm glad the corrections, but you just made me look like a dummy. Shout out new listener, Chachi. We're still alive though. Yep, absolutely. Shout out to you. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, and all our new listeners, subscribe to us at 2 Goalies 1 Mic on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and of course you can find us on YouTube. Make sure you hit the follow button and subscribe. From Mauricio, happy Easter, Duane and Connor Cuddy. Happy Easter to you, Mauricio, and happy Easter to everybody. As we approach Easter Sunday here, hope you have a good time with your families. But yeah, obviously I'm riding solo tonight. Connor is golfing or was golfing, so he cannot be with us tonight. You weren't even there. No, I was not there tonight. So I'm not sure what that comment implies, but thanks for tuning in, Jer. I really, really appreciate it. I love the profile picture. Don should still be fired. I don't disagree. He's not going to be fired. We all know why. But last game and, the start tonight's game, it is, you could look at that and say, yeah, that is justifiable enough for you to fire a head coach. But I mean, he's not going to get fired this season. He's not. He's probably not going to get fired in the offseason, but I do think that he is on life support if they have a slow start next season, much like the start of this season. That's a stat. We are minus 30 goals in the first period. That is a pretty glaring number. Paul Hamilton had concussions at the gym. He actually asked Levi where he got his Beast nickname because he heard Darlene say it in the locker room. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Devin got that nickname because he said in an interview, sometimes you got to unleash the beast or something like that. And teammates, Sabres players thought it was funny, so they started calling him Beast. They have been calling him the Beast since his first game. That's right. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but again, I'm gonna hold tightly onto these playoff hopes of ours. Toronto again tomorrow, not going to be an easy game, especially the second of a back-to-back. You know how good of a hockey team that is. They always come to play the Sabres. And I always feel like Buffalo, for the most part, 90% of the time, they show up and play hard against the Leafs. We really need that top line to continue what they were doing tonight. Tage, Tuck, and Paterka. You really need them to continue right where they left off tomorrow night. So one can only hope, right? We're gonna find some post-game comments here from Brian Koziel. Brian Koziel, obviously always pretty good follow whenever you need the players' post-game comments. Let's see here. Granato on Devin Levi. He was very good, very dialed in. Again, with the situation with goals go in and off of us. So to be able to let that go was significant, and his performance after it was excellent. Yeah, again, it's not easy going down 2-0 early. But one thing I will say about Devin Levi is he has a very short memory. He doesn't let a bad goal bother him, and neither of those goals were on him. They weren't bad goals that he gave up, but he doesn't let goals bug him. It's a short memory, and that's tough for any goalie. Anybody who's ever played the position knows that it's tough to really let in, especially when you let in 2 early goals and your team goes down early 2-0. It's tough to really, refocus and get back in the game sometimes. But with him, he just doesn't have that issue, and that's what I love about him. Like, I've made the comparisons plenty of times, and I still will. He reminds me a lot of Ryan Miller. He really, really does. Mentally, obviously not stature, physically, because Ryan was much taller, but for me, Devin, from a mental standpoint, reminds me a lot of Millsy, without a doubt. Granado said Thompson led the way, even in the first period, even when things weren't going their way. Says perseverance was the word to keep themselves in the game after giving up 2 goals that yeah, so both goals did go in off their own players. I thought that second goal was deflected. More from the post game. TAGE says the PK gave them a lot of momentum. Levi made some big saves, helped them reset after the first intermission, and says they came right out and played a simple, fast-paced game. Levi says the name Beast came from himself when he said it to the media in jest, but the team is going with it now, and he likes it. Yeah, we already knew that. I guess Paul Hamilton, somebody in the comments here said that Paul Hamilton asked. Like, that's been a thing now since the start of the season. Levi on the comeback says it's a long game. I know there was a lot of hockey to be played, and said he has to be mentally strong after giving up 2 goals. Yeah, and that's I think that's the biggest part of his game. It meant, like, the mental focus, how he gets himself and keeps himself in games. Not every goalie is like that, man. As great of a goaltender as Ryan Miller was, and it's not against him, and I think, even some fans, maybe even the ones watching right now, would even agree. Sometimes he would take himself out of games a little bit when he did let in a bad goal. That, not taken away from him, but like it was true. He did that sometimes, especially near the end there, where it got tough for him because how good of a goaltender he was. He knew how good he was. He was playing some of his best hockey there in his last couple of years with the Sabres. But obviously, post Briere and Drury, it was tough. That's when the struggles really started. So, but with Dev, and again, and this isn't like a negative comparison when it comes to Ryan, but like with Devin, I just don't get that vibe from him. Like, that kid never lets a goal bug him. Obviously, later on in his career, that might change. It wasn't always like that for Ryan Miller, but like, Devin is just the type of kid that short memory, let's save the next shot. And Ryan Miller, for 90% of his career, was like that with Buffalo too. And I'm not trying to talk negatively about Miller at all. It's not what I'm saying. He's one of my favorite goaltenders. Right there behind me. Where is it? Right there? Yeah, it's the opposite. Right there, right there. He's one of my favorite goaltenders. Right there with Dominic Hasek. So, great human being, and just a world-class Hall of Fame goaltender. And the comparisons between him and Levi, at least again from the mental part of the game, honestly, I think you're right to make that comparison. Darlene says Levi has given himself the nickname Beast. Says they are rolling with it. Says for sure he will be an unbelievable goalie in this league. Darlene says the PK was dialed in, and they had a meeting about the PK today. Felt it was a huge boost tonight for the team and how they played out there. Well, maybe they should have a meeting about the power play. That would be great. They didn't get any. I don't think they got any power play opportunities tonight. Pretty sure they didn't. But definitely have that meeting about the power play. Because if you have a meeting about the power play and it performs as well as your PK did after the PK meeting, would love for that to have the same effect on the power play. Darlene, it was a hell of a response from us. We learned our lesson last game. We told ourselves it wasn't going to happen again, thanks to Tomer. Yeah, I mean, he went down 5-0 after the first period the other night against Ottawa, and that was tough to watch. I was there in attendance, and yeah, glad to not see that things to spin out of control here tonight after they went down 2-0. That's it for the post-game comments with Brian Koziel. Last thing from Brian Koziel. For what it's worth, the Sabres win Saturday versus the Leafs, and the Bruins beat the Capitals in regulation. Buffalo will be 4 points back with 2 head-to-head meetings with Washington still on the schedule. That's huge. And you have another game, I believe, against Detroit, too. Another team you're chasing. So, oh, man, I can't believe. They sucked me back in. I'm back in. I'm back on the playoff bandwagon. Let's go. I don't know. Yeah, but I guess there was some narrative or chatter on Twitter tonight about after the game how Greenway and Tuck apparently didn't salute the fans. Um, I know this was a thing a couple weeks ago when literally the whole team wasn't doing it. Stop it now. Just stop. You know who you are, who started it. You know who you are. Stop. No. Don't do it. Don't look deep into it. I 99.9% positive that wasn't an intentional snub of the fans by Tuck and Greenway. According to Ryan Catanzaro here on Twitter, they were the last two hugging Levi. By the time they got done, the team had already saluted. It's literally a nothing burger. Yeah, literally. Again, I highly doubt that was a direct snub by Tuck to the fans. You know, I know he had his interview on with Elliot Friedman on 32 Thoughts, and he had a few comments about the booing and not how the team doesn't like it, this, that, and the other. Listen, you have every bit of right to boo when they play bad, especially after that first period tonight, and especially after that first period the other night against Ottawa. But they won. Be happy about that, if anything. And like Ryan said, they were hugging Levi. So they're not going to salute the fans by themselves. So I wouldn't read into that at all. So with that being said, I hope that is done and over with. Let's take a look at the Sabres schedule ahead. We have Toronto tomorrow night at 7 here in our barn. We would expect that UPL will get that start. And we don't play again until Tuesday. A couple days off. Huge home game against Alex Ovechkin and the Capitals. Again, if the Capitals lose to the Bruins, that becomes a 4-point swing game. It still is a 4-point swing game. And I imagine, I'm not sure how there's a big slate of NHL games tomorrow. I imagine that could put you within a couple points of a playoff spot. If you get that win on Tuesday against the Capitals, then you're back home again. 3 days rest. Wednesday, Thursday, most of the day Friday against the Flyers. The John Tortorella team is always a tough team to play against, but you play the Flyers Friday night, 7:00 game, and then you go back on the road to Detroit, get a little redemption for that loss they had a few weeks ago, and then that week Tuesday also on the road in Dallas, and then you're back home again against the Capitals. The last two games are both away in Florida. You play the Panthers on April 8th or 13th, and then you play the Lightning, who you'd have beaten this season, on the 15th to end the season. I imagine that fan appreciation night 2 will be that Thursday game against the Capitals, which is a home game. One thing, if one of you guys can look it up too in the chat, I'm curious what the Sabres all-time record is on these fan appreciation nights. I'm sure we got some nerds in the chat. Somebody wants to look at Gargalon. I'm looking at you, how well they perform on fan appreciation night. I've been to just most of those games are always fun games. I feel like they win a lot of them. I really do. I think the Craig Anderson game, I think that was the last home game of the season. I want to say that was a fan appreciation game. They definitely won that game for Craig. From Hudson Curtin. For me, it's hard to get excited considering how different they look night in and night out. Yeah, it is. It's difficult. They are so consistent at being inconsistent. And it's frustrating, man. It really is. I think they've only won 3 in a row, 2 or 3 times this season. They've never won 4 in a row. Now is as good of time ever to rip off a 4-game winning streak. 4 games and more. So you control your own destiny here, guys. Like, all you can control is what you do. You can look at the out-of-town scores all you want, hope and pray they fall in your favor. Obviously, Boston is a really good team. The Capitals have been the weirdest team to explain this season. They sold the deadline, but yet they're still winning. So that'll be a tough game between them and the Bruins, but you would hope the Bruins pull that one out as they are the better hockey team. So let's just hope and pray that score goes in our favor, and then we have a 4-point swing game against the Capitals, only 4 points back come next week. From Hudson, any chance the Panthers and Lightning rest guys in their spots if their spots are set, or am I crazy? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Why would you want at least if they have locked up a playoff spot, if their playoff spots are clinched by that point, I would suspect that you would definitely get their backup goalies on both those nights, without a doubt. Why would you risk, especially your goaltender? Why would you risk getting your number one goalie hurt, especially against a team like the Sabres? Not trying to knock them, but it's true. Maybe like your older guys, especially on Tampa, guys like Kucherov and Stamkos. I could see having I see those guys getting a night off. Like, why not? Rest up, rest your guys. Like, get them ready for playoffs. If anything, Tampa Bay, I mean, I don't know how they play like an extra season and a half of hockey with all the long playoff runs they've had over the years. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they rested some guys. I mean, it's not something to hope for like you do at the end of a Bills season when you get to rest your starters. But I would absolutely hope for that, especially if things are going in our favor. Why not? You got to hope for the best. There isn't a stat I can find for fan appreciation night. I would just probably if you can find me the last 3 fan appreciation nights, it's always the last home game of every season. Obviously, I'd be very curious to know the last 3 to 5 fan appreciation nights, how what their record is. Just something fun to look up. Fo Mauricio, Cousins post after post, enough scrum. Yeah, he had another post tonight. I didn't hate his game at all. I think Quinn is still struggling. I'm not convinced he's at 100%. I think that if the Sabres are really far out of a playoff spot right now, like really, really far out, I don't think Quinn would be playing. Or if they, for whatever reason, had a playoff spot clinched, Quinn definitely would be playing. I think they would be resting him, but they're just hoping to get whatever they can out of him at 75% or whatever he is. Quinn, again, for a couple games in a row now, hasn't looked great. But again, he's coming off another injury, lower body. I just don't think that he is at all 100% right now. My 3 stars, we'll go through it right now. I'm going to give 3rd star honors to Alex Tuch. Alex Tuch had a great game. That first line was doo-doo in the first period, but the final 40 minutes, they dominated. And Alex Tuch had a couple apples tonight, and he really, I remember the one TAGE goal on the boards. Tuch causes the turnover, kicks out to TAGE, and he buries it past Jake Allen, man. 2 of his 4 goals, man, just an absolute laser beam to the back of the net. Vintage Tage Thompson, and that's what we've been wanting all season. We've seen it a few times here and there, but not with the consistency we saw last year or even the year before that. So happy to see him have that shot speed and the power back on full display tonight. What are your guys' all thoughts, on the road ahead? Are you holding on to hope? I'm holding on to hope. It's all we got, right? We can start looking at draft guides if we want. I personally hope hell they don't use their 1st round pick, but I just want meaningful games. I want to be excited to watch the Sabres. I want to, get pumped. I don't want to be tweeting about throwing jerseys on the ice or, calling for the coach to be fired, the coaching staff to be fired. I still want the staff to be fired around ground without a doubt. And when's the last time we saw Dan Girardi? Do we have any Dan Girardi sightings? Because I don't know if he's been around at all lately. Because I'm just sick of the part-time coach thing when it comes to him. It's either shit or get off the pot for me. But yeah, are you guys holding on to optimism at all? We beat we beat Ottawa 4-3 last game last year. I'm pretty sure that was the Craig Anderson game. That was. I believe they wore goat heads too. I was at that game. I think I have a couple of the videos still on my phone Really fun game to be a part of. I wonder if they have any Craig Anderson jerseys still at the Sabre store. I wouldn't mind owning a Craig Anderson jersey. That'd be nice. I'm glad he's still part of the organization too. Hudson Curtin, Matt Ellis, and the guy with the worst haircut imaginable needs to go. That would be Marty Wolford. And yes, I hope they both are gone sooner rather than later. But I don't really have much to say. Really, just nothing but positive things for the final 40 minutes. We already addressed the first 20. The current wisdom out there says Levi's will go back to Rochester now. I don't agree. I'm a little ignorant to it, but what is the situation with Rochester in the standings? Are they comfortably in a playoff spot? Last time I remember, they're kind of fighting to stay in it. If that is still the case, then yeah, I can imagine that they would send him back to Rochester. But if they kept him here in Buffalo, I wouldn't be surprised by that either. I mean, let's be real. They clearly want him and Ned over Comrie. I'm not sure. I don't think there's any back-to-backs left. I think that tomorrow will be the last one of the season. Let me take a look here. Yeah, there are no back-to-backs left. Like a bunch of 2 and 3 nights, but there are no back-to-back left after tomorrow. So, yeah, I definitely could see them sending him back to Rochester for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if they kept him here for this long stretch of games. I think tomorrow will be a big deciding factor in that, right? Like tomorrow for sure would be a big factor in that decision. If they win that game, I could definitely see them keeping him here in Buffalo. If they lost, I could see them sending him back to Rochester to get them ready for the playoff run for a Calder Cup for sure. So that being said, maybe I'll go tomorrow. I don't know. Should I go to the game tomorrow? I hate the Leafs so much. Tickets are so expensive. I'm already going to that Capitals game on April 2nd with some friends from work. I don't know. We'll see. From Kevin in 21-22, they beat. So last two fan appreciation nights, they're 2-0, 2-0. And that will be against, I believe, Washington, right? Yeah, Washington. The final home game of the season against the Capitals. So let's make a 3-0 over the last 3. I would keep Levi up until we are eliminated. Send Comrie down if the playoffs are in question. Honestly, if they should send Comrie down now. Just send him down now. 2021, they lost to the Penguins. So 2-1 in the last 3. I like it. So again, let's make it 3-1 in the last 4, right? That's what we're hoping for. So that being said, guys, let you all get to your weekend and make sure you have a happy Easter. I hope you guys enjoyed some fish fries today. I know I did with my dad and my sister. Good times. Remember, this is brought to you by Fatty Beer Company, Western York's premier market and tap room. And of course, Buffalo Go Apparel. Make sure you go check them both out at Fatty Beer on Instagram and Twitter, at Fatty Beer Co. on Facebook. Again, 300 beers to choose from, 8 different Western New York locations. Great vibes anytime you go in there. Bring your dog. Awesome times every time. And if you go to the one in Lancaster, tell Greg Day I said hello. His buddy from Two Goalies and Mike Duane says hello. And of course, Buffalo Go, again, one of the best spots to get all of your Buffalo sports apparel needs. Keep an eye out for hopefully our future Two Goalies, One Mike merchandise, or hopefully have our own store opened up soon. You can get your Goated 39 snapback hat from there. Very reasonably priced and fits fantastically. The RJ two-tone snapback is on there as well. Where I have the little helmet here for the RJ one. It's a little headset. It's pretty cool. And of course, the GOAT merchandise, shirts, hats, or shirts and hoodies, and long sleeve shirts now for the very first time ever offered in a long sleeve. So make sure you go get one. They are available at Buffalo Go Co. on Instagram and Twitter, buffalogo.com. Make sure you go check them out, please. Actually, Jeff Skinner plays in his 1,000th game on Tuesday. Man, 1,000 games. He's never seen a playoff game. On that note, boys, you guys enjoy the weekend. Go Sabres, and I'll hang up and listen. We'll talk to you soon.
ought to go, and the whole